So at the current moment, the Los Angeles Lakers are just absolutely down terrible right now. They're below 500 after going on a little win streak and having people thinking that they were going to be good again. They just came off of a 3-game losing streak, and yes, I know they beat the Utah Jazz yesterday, which was a very impressive win, but we can't act like that just automatically fixes all of their problems. The Lakers, for the most part, have just looked absolutely terrible. They've been absolutely disappointing, like as soon as coming to the season, because when we're going into the season, everyone basically had the Lakers coming out of the Western Conference, and most people at least had them as a top 5 team in the league. But I think at the moment, they're looking like the definition of an average team. But luckily, the NBA trade deadline is coming really soon, and I think there's a chance that the Lakers can drastically improve their roster going into the second half of the season. And it has led me to make this video where I'll be talking about some potential trades the Lakers can make to realistically improve. But before we get into the video, I ask you to drop a like on this video as it does help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want daily NBA content. Also, if you want to reach my goal of 3,000 subscribers. Also, drop a comment on this video as I do respond to all of my comments. And play that outro. First trade I want to talk about that the Lakers could potentially do to improve is a trade that includes the Indiana Pacers quality big man in Myles Turner. The way I think the trade would look is the Lakers would send Talen Horton-Tucker, Kendrick Nunn, and their future 2027 first round pick to the Pacers. Then the Pacers will send back Myles Turner. This would be a very good trade for the Lakers because right now a huge problem with this roster is that their defense hasn't been good to any degree. And the main reason they're struggling so much on defense is because of a lack of effort. Also, they don't have enough good perimeter defenders to actually be a really elite defensive team. They're the oldest team in the NBA. You could kind of expect that. But if you have a big man like Myles Turner, who's leading the NBA in blocks right now, who's literally averaging 3 blocks a game, you could expect him to come protect the paint alongside Anthony Davis, which would give the Lakers the best paint defense in the league. And I feel like they would instantly be a top 5 defense just because of that, because the basket would be absolutely locked down. The thing that makes Turner such a perfect fit is also the fact that Turner is a center who can actually shoot the 3-ball at a respectable level, meaning that Anthony Davis will get more space in the paint when he's trying to post up. Also to open up the lanes for Russell Westbrook and LeBron trying to drive. And it'll just make the whole floor spaced out and just make the Lakers way better. Turner with the Lakers would help them on offense and defense. And on offense, he would be a guy who can attack mismatches, and they don't really have a center like that who can do that. You're not going to throw the ball to DeAndre Jordan or Dwight Howard if they have a 6'5" guard on them. In the case of Indiana, I'm not going to lie, this might be a little bit of a weak trade for them because Myles Turner is their top 3 player, but I can see a world where they make this. Also, he just got injured recently. I don't think he's out for a whole season, but he's going to be out for a few weeks, so that definitely has tanked his trade value a little bit. So I actually could see them taking this move. They're getting a guy in Horton-Tucker who has shown a lot of potential, but he just hasn't been amazing this season. But I think on a different team he could be really good, like a lot of the other young Laker players have been doing. Also, getting that 2027 first round pick is pretty big because by 2027 I assume LeBron's not going to be on the team by then. So they're getting a good young player and a good first round pick. I think that's exactly what they need to get started on the rebuild, and trade Turner for that. I could see other teams giving up other offers, but a lot of other teams don't really need Myles Turner that can offer the better offer, if you know what I mean. The other second trade I could see the Los Angeles Lakers doing at the trade deadline involves the Detroit Pistons best player in Jerami Grant. Jerami is definitely going to be moved by Detroit this season because he just doesn't fit in with the timeline of this team. And the way the trade would look, in my opinion, with the Lakers would be Talen Horton-Tucker, Kent Bazemore, Kendrick Nunn, and the Lakers 2027 first round pick to the Pistons, and Jerami Grant to the Lakers. This would just make the Lakers way better since, don't forget, Grant is a guy who averaged 23 points last season and was playing at an all-star level. He's a guy who can space the floor at a really good level. He's also one of the best and most versatile defenders in the whole league when he's actually trying. He's also a guy who could create his own shot at a decent level. He's not the most natural guy at doing it, but he's kind of like Pascal Siakam where he just gets it done. He's probably better at creating his own shot outside, on the Lakers. If he joined the Lakers right now, he's better at creating his own shot outside of LeBron and Anthony Davis. So we would definitely help them out. He could be a guy who plays off of LeBron because he did play off Nikola Jokic and he excelled. He's very athletic. LeBron can come up with several cuts and wide open threes. Grant is a guy who I think could average like 20 points on this team while playing some of the best defense in the league when he's fully engaged. He definitely makes this roster way better, and he's exactly what they need because they need a lockdown defender. They don't have one right now. The reason I think the Pistons would take this trade is because they're trying to trade Grant as fast as they can, because next season he's going to be an expiring contract and you just get way more for a guy when he's not expiring, and maybe other teams aren't willing to give up what the Lakers are willing to give up, because the Pistons would get Taylor Tucker, who's a guy who I think could fit in with the Pistons' young core, and then Ken Bazemore, Kendrick Nunn are just alright players. Kendrick Nunn's good, but like he doesn't really matter to them because they're not trying to win, but they'd also be getting the 2027 first round pick, which, as I said, couldn't be really valuable because LeBron's probably not going to be there 2027. The third trade I think the Lakers could potentially do, this is probably the most far-fetched and unrealistic, but I think it would be the best trade for them overall, and that is the Lakers trading for Harrison Barnes and Buddy Hield. The way I think this trade would work is Russell Westbrook, Taylor Tucker, and a 2027 first-round pick go to the Sacramento Kings in exchange for Buddy Hield and Harrison Barnes. This trade would just be absolutely amazing for the Lakers. They would get a top 10 shooter in Buddy Hield. He'd be a perfect fit alongside LeBron. LeBron would just feed him the ball a crazy amount. It would also increase the spacing on his team so much. They would also be getting rid of Taylor Tucker and Russell Westbrook, who are like the two worst three-point shooters on the roster. Just give LeBron way more space and give Anthony Davis way more spacing. Also, Harrison Barnes is actually low-key one of the best shooters in the league. I'd say he's a top 20 or so shooter in the league. He would get a lot of open looks from LeBron, and Harrison Barnes is actually a really solid defender. He's not locked down or anything, but he's definitely a good defender, so he would help them out on defense. In the case of Sacramento, the only reason I don't think they would do this trade is because they don't want Russell Westbrook's huge big contract, especially when he's on the decline of his career. Maybe if it was last season I'd understand it, but to be honest, I don't think they'll take it. The only thing that they're getting out of this is Taylor Tucker. You could hope like blossom and become a star outside of the Lakers, and then you get the 2027 first round pick, which looks like it'd be a very high pick because I don't think LeBron will be there, but maybe Sacramento will be down bad. Maybe they're not getting any better offers and this is the only way to improve for them. Maybe they would do it, but to be honest, I don't think it's crazy realistic. But I do think them trading for one of Buddy Hield or Harrison Barnes is kind of realistic. And to be honest, I don't want Russell Westbrook on the team anymore, so I had to add this in. To conclude the video, I think all of these trades are a little bit far-fetched because the Lakers don't have too much like great assets, but the Pacers has just came out and said like what they're looking for in return for Myles Turner is like a young player who's promising and a first-round pick. Taylor Tucker is pretty promising and the Lakers have that first-round pick. So I think that's actually a realistic trade. I also think the Jerami Grant one is like a realistic trade unless the Pistons are just overrating him, because Jerami Grant isn't that much better than Myles Turner, like impact-wise at least. So I feel like giving up a valuable, like a young player with promise and a first-round pick should be enough to get him. So low-key, I think some of these trades could happen. I don't really think the Sacramento one's going to happen. I think Russell Westbrook's going to be on this team. Sad to say, I'm not even a Westbrook hater. He just really annoys me, but I just hope the Lakers do something. I think they are going to do something at LeBron. I think we all saw his tweet. That means good things are coming, hopefully. I guess we'll have to see.